You're just speaking there about the process that you went through to try and persuade him. What was the actual point where you realised it had gone from that situation you were maybe worried about to thinking this is more positive, he's going to stay? Did you kind of remember when it was and how that kind of happened?
Yes, it was a conversation that I had with Auba first privately, and then with his father and his agent. And sometimes it's incredible how necessary these conversations are to try to understand each other's position, you know, and what happened in the past, things that have annoyed people, things that actually make people feel important and part of the process. So I think after those two conversations, I thought that we had a really good chance, because I felt a really good connection between us and a strong feeling that they wanted to continue with us.
Can you, I don't know as much as you're able to say, obviously you came in December and towards the end of the season, your confidence, you know, when you were being asked about Aubameyang, you seemed fairly confident. So when were those sort of conversations? When did it change for you roughly?
I think those happened during the COVID period, and then we started to have some conversations internally between his representative and the club, and things were evolving positively, you know. It was taking time, obviously, because it was a big thing for the club and for Auba and his environment. But again, we are really glad that we reached agreement.
In terms of the significance of him staying, obviously the club have lost big players in the past when their contracts have been running down. They've chosen to move on. Is there a significance there in that context in keeping Aubameyang, that when his contract was running down and the club needed to pull something out to keep him, you managed to do it this time? And is that an important message that's been sent out, whether it's to other clubs, to other players, that you've got a project?
Well, I think it was a really important thing for us, certainly, to try to do it. That's where we push as hard as we could to get it done. But yeah, I think every player situation or what happened in the past is probably very different to what we had today. But we just try to manage in the best possible way to achieve what we wanted.
You, your role was obviously very important, which you've spoken about, and some of the other players as well that have committed have spoken about your role in persuading them to stay. When you go into sort of effectively bat for the club, really, you're making a pitch to these players, and it comes out the way you want. Is that must be very satisfying and almost feel like vindication for you that you're selling the club to these players and they're agreeing to stay?
From my side, I can just show them my conviction of what we are trying to do, explain them why, show them the processes that are taking in place in order to achieve that. And after that, try to transmit it the best possible way so the player feels exactly what I do. And then there are other big parts. For example, the part of Edu on executing all this is massive. The same with Vinai, the board, the people are related to us, and of course the ownership that at the end of the day have to support our decisions, and they've been top.
And just lastly, what Auba was saying about leaving a legacy and becoming a legend, I imagine that's sort of exactly the sort of thing you want to hear. Are you fairly similar? Do you have those sort of high goals and aspirations in terms of what you want to achieve yourself as manager?
For myself,
yeah,
I just want to do the best possible job to get this club winning titles as frequently as we can, transmitting the values that we believe are right for the football club, creating a very clear identity and a very sustainable model. So this can be sustained with or without me for many years as well. And players really feel attached to what this club means to our people.
Thanks very much, Mikel. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. Over to Nick Ames from The Guardian.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Going back to what Adrian asked you about persuading players to stay and communicating and having those conversations, how is that aspect of management maybe more important these days than it was before? Maybe when you were a player, is it important to sell the club and even maybe sell yourself to the individuals when you're having those chats?
Yeah, certainly in this period when the market is open, but yes, and obviously when you have some difficulties financially or restrictions, I would say, with what you can and cannot do, obviously it becomes crucial, you know, that you are able to keep the core and the players that you believe are vital for the success of the project. But then is the people. I think I don't feel in a position, honestly, that I have to convince them. You know, we have more than enough at this club that people really want to stay here. Sometimes what you have to be able to explain is what you want to do with everything that we have, the direction we are taking, and who they are in this part of the puzzle, how important they are for them to try to execute it.
Sure. Just moving on to the goalkeeping situation, the two players who you've been very strongly linked with, Lunas and Raya, have both worked, of course, with Inaki Cana before at Brentford and Nordsjælland in Denmark. We don't have to go into those individuals, but how important is Inaki in this process of deciding who your next goalkeepers are going to be?
Yeah, I think it gets down to what I expect from my staff. At the end of the day, I bring a staff with very special qualities to add to what we are trying to do. And then I have to give them responsibility, because I want them accountable for the tasks that I give to them and the clear roles that I give to them. And obviously, when it comes down to the goalkeeper, he has a big say on how we're going to implement our methodology, how we're going to train them, how we're going to treat the goalkeeping position, short term, medium, and long term. And obviously, at the end, it will be me who makes the decision, but it's very important the people around me who has, in many occasions, much clearer criteria and specificity than me, that I really listen to them and try to follow what their feelings are.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it even more important in the case of a goalkeeper that maybe you take the coach's recommendation, because it is such a specialist position?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a big faith in Inaki, as I do with the rest of the staff that are here. But I would take that into the medical department, whether it's the physio, the kit man, traveling, any department that is here. You know, they have much more expertise than me. I want to control them. I want to make sure that they share the values and direction that we want to take. But at the end of the day, they have to, most of the time, execute the actions.
Okay, Nick.